All right, everybody, welcome to this Day Real Agile special episode. Let's see if we are everywhere. We're going to start very soon. We're all live on LinkedIn, so welcome, LinkedIn people. There's a lot of people today happening right now. Perfect. The music of the background is Kate Bush, by the way. Cloud busting for honoring women. And that's why I choose it because I have an amazing woman that's going to talk with us today. And we're live everywhere, so welcome everybody, and welcome to all my joggers and runner out there of the Day Real Agile podcast, because this is the 42 episode of this amazing podcast, and I would like to be thankful for all of you who told me with your email that you are jogging with us, you are doing your workout with us, so I'm very happy. And just before I'm welcoming my guest, Sabine Fable of the 90 Day Scrum, I would like to thank Sakina, Bridget, and Raphael for their Bitcoin. And if you would like to do like them to support the channel and support our initiative and anything that we do volunteering, including the Scrum Beer, and the Scrum Beer was amazing yesterday. Amazing crowd of people that came up at the Crew Collective, and we talk about this game I have behind me, the Get Kanban board game. We explained the PO game and everything. The PO, it's product owner value game. So they were a very nice conversation about the new generation that take more risk than the other generation that will make agile switching into more action and stuff. So welcome everybody. Welcome amazing and beautiful people to this. And again, if you'd like more information about what the Agile Lounge for Business Agility and you want to become a satisfied Agile coachee or an organization or team, go to agile-lounge.com and become one of our satisfied clients. We have failure too, but most of the time we are winner. Because why? Like Scott Adam remind us, winners have systems and goals are for loser, because the goals should be within the thing. So again, support the channel, especially on YouTube and Rumble, guys. Give me a glove on Rumble, like it and share it to support the channel. Share it to anyone you'd like to spark, and especially today we're gonna talk about, and she will correct me if I'm wrong. There's a bit of personal scrum into what we are going to talk together. How it could enhance your own career and even on your personal life. And hello, Nancy. Welcome, Nancy, in the chat on YouTube. So we have people today, probably because we have an interesting woman. I won't say a woman in Agile, but She'll tell us. Welcome, Sabine Fab. I'm so
Hi, Alexandre. How are you?
very good yourself.
Awesome. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me in your podcast today. It's just a great way to end this quarter.
Yeah, and actually, it's me who are thankful to have you with your innovative mind, your greatness, and everything. It's been about like that's funny because you come to the 42 show, and it's been 2 years that we met virtually first
Yes,
and stuff like
time.
in the middle of this crisis because you had some questions about Scrum. But let me tell you one thing, and let me tell my audience one thing that
Hmm.
Sabine, even if she's not part of this agilist club, whatever, she know better than a lot of Scrum Master and Scrum Mistress that I'm coaching. Let me tell you this. So I'm grateful about this. And oh, and not forget, we are September the 30th, right? And today in Canada, we have a special day about it's the first national day of truth and reconciliation. So that is why I'm wearing my oro acero. Oro acero, it's from the Mayan culture in Mexico. And of course, this day is for Canadian First Nation. And but you know me, I'm part of. An adopted child of a Mayan community of Chabela in the Yucatan. And the elder, when I was so happy to share with him that we have this national day, here in Canada. He said, "Oh, that's nice, reconciliation. I love it." And you know, the Mayan play a big role in try to assemble people from the north, the Eagle Nation of the north, and the Condor Nation of the south. And he asked me the questions. What about the walking action of that day? Is it just for awareness and praising, or you have something? And I did discover very quickly that the Mexican First Nation, maybe they have it better than the Canadian nation at some right now. I'm not talking about the history here, but right now, because they have very, they're part of the Constitution of Mexico, and our fellow brothers and sisters here are not. We have Quebec and British Columbia as a province. We have great treaty, great peace, reconciliation treaty with our First Nation people. So, as you know, the Real Agile, we have to be agnostic and holistic. But I'm really happy that we have this day. And I don't know if you know, Sabine, if it's the 30th of September every year or the last Friday of September.
Good
Moving on,
question.
because
Yeah,
good
not
question.
sure.
So we'll
Mhm.
anyone, if you have this information in the comment, but I'm really pleased because even my mother was a métis, so I'm very happy that we have this to have a day of reflection, a day of truthfulness with those people who are there, who, um, who suffer, who also have the power to change and the power to be happy. And this is what we are going to talk about. But first, tell my audience and you and myself who you are exactly. Who is Sabine Fab?
Well, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. I'm here in my own capacity, so I don't represent my company. I'm responsible for everything I'm going to say today, but I'm going to introduce myself to your audience. My name is Sabine. I'm from Montreal, Canada. My parents are really originally from Haiti. And what I like to do on my spare time, I like to read. And it's actually one of the reasons why I'm here today. Because a while ago, while I was reading some self-help book, I noticed two things. One thing is that um, some of the recommendation from expert in the self-help industry overlaps or resembles some of the concept that we learned from Agile. And another thing that I noticed is that some of the concept, again, that experts in the self-help industry teach can also be applied with the Scrum framework. So let me
Hmm.
give you a concrete example. Um, One of the authors that comes back often in the research that I did, in terms of what I did is that I researched what do people do to become high performer. And one of the author that comes back often in my research is Andrew Erickson. He's known for quoting the term deliberate practice. And basically, Andrew Erickson is the expert at studying what experts do to become high performer. So let me give you an example, and you'll see how it resembles the Scrum framework.
Yeah.
Like he says that if you want to become really good at something, first you have to set a stretch goal that takes you a little bit out of your comfort zone. Then you have to find a coach who's going to help you build a practice plan.
Ah.
After, you have to practice, of course, that's normal. And then after, you have to ask for feedback immediately. And then finally, he says, take the time to reflect on your past performance and adjust. So you see how it resembles the Scrum framework?
Absolutely. In a sense of the three pillar of the Scrum system. In a sense, like yeah. It's,
Exactly. So I've been working on, linking these ideas together in a practical way. And that's the reason why I came up with 90 Day Scrum. So essentially, just to better illustrate this for your audience, I want them to imagine a Venn diagram with the
Mhm.
self-help industry on one side, the Scrum framework on the other side, or and the other Agile frameworks, and in the middle you have the Scrum 90-day Scrum.
Why will be the 90-day Scrum? Is 90-day Scrum because I was one of
Mm-hmm.
your customer. I know this is
Yeah,
one of the iteration is not your final way that you improve. By the way,
you're
because you have
correct.
the
This
early
is the most
bird.
recent version. Yeah.
I see. Anyways, we're gonna put the link, especially on YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
Rumble. You have all the link and the pine comment. to go see the work of Sabine after the show. And for my audio podcaster, on the description on the main website of the podcast, and also
Hmm.
Apple and Spotify, they will have all the link for 90dayscrum.com. Is it .com?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Anyways, I have it somewhere, but every link that you'd like to reference, also including Ericsson, everything, we could put it after the show because we are live right now, September 30th.
Thank
But
you,
so,
Alexandre.
so why in the Venn diagram you will? So just explain us like
Hmm.
you inspire yourself of the work of Ericsson and also the Scrum system that evolved in the last 25, 30 years.
Hmm.
Um, and now there's a personal professional development into it. That's my understanding because it
That's
was for
correct.
me that's applying in a more personal level or a career perspective or any dreams in my mind's eye that I could have,
Hmm.
and I would like to put it visually as I don't know. So just tell me because it's just my perception. Maybe I'm wrong, and I have the
Well,
master now with us. So
it's 90 Days Scrum is a combination of both worlds, where we are mixing the wisdom from the self-help industry with the practical concept and philosophy from Agile.
mm,
And just to properly frame the conversation for your audience, we know that there's Scrum at the enterprise level, there's Scrum at the team level. And me, I'm more focused, and that's my passion. It's using Scrum at a personal level.
excellent.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not the first one to do it. If people go online, they Google 90 Day Scrum. No, sorry. If they Google Personal Scrum,
Yeah,
they'll see a couple results. So, essentially, what I'm doing today, I'm offering my perspective of Personal Scrum, which I call 90 Day Scrum.
yeah. And why you count it into 12 weeks?
Okay. Interesting. I was coming to that point later, but we can talk about it now. Essentially, it's because change takes time. According to, let me find the information for you. According to Dr. Norcross, who's a clinical psychologist, he says that it takes about 90 days for someone to change. It takes about 90 days for someone to prepare for change, uh, build the habits and the behaviors that are required in order for the changes to be visible.
Okay, to
Yeah.
be visible.
And yeah, exactly. So, and there's also the a reference from Dr. Caroline Leaf, who says that it doesn't take 21 days to build a habit. It takes about 63 days up to 84 days. Based on her scientific research, she found that massive change appears in the brain at day 21, and
Oh,
sustainable change appears at day 63 or week 9.
this is amazing, Sabine, because
Mhm.
before I was a Scrum Master 23 years ago, could you imagine? I'm getting old. I was a customer experience designer, and we were working with psychologists and industrial psychologists and everything. And all
Mhm.
the time frame or the time boxing, it's always amazing. You talk about the 21 days. Did you know that for it's always like this rule of
Mhm.
3 by 7, or even the famous Fibonacci sequence that some Scrum Master who's
Please.
listening right now, it start with 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 5 and then 8, 13, 21, 42, so on and so on.
Right.
So there's
Mhm.
always like this kind of and it's the Nineveh constants of not just our brain or
Mhm.
adaptation to it. So this is amazing because it's all for me. I like to connect the dots. You like to read, and when I read something myself too, I love books. I always connecting things to something else because it seems that we have in this human experience on Earth some constants, and these number thing seems to be a constant for anything that the human persona on that experience seems to need as a kind of I don't know if we could call it guardrails of time space or something, but it seems to be always about the 3 by 7 thing that makes like 21, 42,
Mhm.
90 days and so on. So and
Interesting.
yeah, so anyways, that was my 5 cents about those numbers that because it was also outside the world of Scrum, outside of like people and people care
Mhm.
department. They use it for making sure that the integration of the person into a new team, it's also taking form, and probably the Tuckman model of storming and forming that
Right. Yes.
probably take around another 12 weeks to make sure that I've saw a lot of team, not just Scrum team, but any team that I used to coach and facilitate, that it's take about a release of 3 to 6 months to make sure that they come to a performance level, as you mentioned.
Ah,
That's it.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So,
So
mhm,
go ahead.
go ahead. Okay. So essentially, I what I think is that this system would be very useful to help people develop a personal development plan. But before I go into the 8 reasons why people it would be a good plan for people to use, a good system for people to use, I want to talk about why this information is important. Why should they care about this information? I'm going to give you 3 reasons. Number one is, according to the World Economic Forum, around half of the employee around the world will need reskilling by 2025. There's a PDF online. If people Google reskilling revolution, they'll be able to find more information. But essentially, the main information that I got is that technology are transforming our lives,
Hmm.
and there's a growing need for specialized skills. So we have to get ready. Another interesting point that I found, and I wanted to have your opinion about this, is um, one of the reasons why digital transformation efforts has failed in some organization. It's because of the lack of internal training. Essentially, the lack of skills is preventing companies from implementing the right technologies. And I wanted to have your opinion about this because you have done a lot of consulting work. What do you think about that? Do you agree or you disagree with this?
Those are the questions of agreeing or disagreeing with that. It's me. I
Mhm.
like to be confronting by facts. What is
Okay.
happening? What could have been done to consult, to coach, and what is the desire of, we talk about change and transformation, but more and more when I see, and any enterprise size, by the way, it doesn't have to be a small, medium, or large, any size enterprise, it's
Hmm.
the wheel of doing things differently to empower people. That should be
Okay.
the first motive. Like, in business school since 1952 with Peter Drucker,
Hmm.
we all know that the primary reason or the primary proposed value of any enterprise, of any services, any product, any industry, should be creating its customer. Because if you don't have customer, you don't have a
Right.
business.
No
Period.
business.
Right?
Right.
It's a revenue-based thing. Unfortunately, it's profit-based thing. We are
Hmm.
still, unless I missed the memo, we are still in a capitalist kind of economic exchange system and so on. So now I don't want to get to a debate what type of capitalist we
Hmm.
are in. Is it too much financial beside things? And the agile movement, from software development in 2001 and evolved with business agility and now more conscious leadership and intuitive leadership. It's to empower people, engage people, elevate the people. So that's why I'm sure, and I was very interesting about this,
Hmm.
because I think the human resources that should be called human relation, or at least people care,
Hmm.
would inspire themselves of your kind of 90-day program, to empower the real professional development of the career of the people
Ah,
and the
interesting.
reskilling also. So for me, there's no
Hmm.
top down or bottom up transformation. It's like the Mayan teach us the in Lakesh, I am another you. Let's meet in the middle. So it should be supported by the top C level. And
Hmm.
this is where the agile community, I'm not saying it out loud, it's the dairy and agile. We
Hmm.
are 95% of coach who are not paying attention of executive coaching, telling
Ah.
the business owner in executive coaching, what is your real desire? Is it still profit, old world, or it's the
Hmm.
new world of people empowerment? And you talk about 50%. The WEF is thinking that it will have to be reskilled just because of technology. But let me tell you
Right.
another thing. I just came back from a lab in Tulum in Mexico with people
Hmm.
from all around the world, especially the emergent countries.
Hmm.
A lot of women in that, by the way. Praise be. And they're part of this 3% of entrepreneur that will strive in the next decade. And I just read in The Economist from London, this big magazine, they talk about Canada, and they divide Canada and just the province of Quebec
Mm-hmm.
From now to 2030, it's going to be almost 2 million people. We are a province of 8 million people. I don't know the workforce exactly. I think they count that 6 million people are in the workforce. And
Wow.
by the next 7 years, 2 million of them will retire. And you talk about training and apprenticeship. Where is the apprenticeships? Where is
Ah.
how do we? Because this is one thing for me. I
Mm-hmm.
don't do agile transformation. I do business transformation, and I try to prepare them with the agile mindset. Yes, if they want to choose,
Ah. Okay.
okay, they should use the agile value, the four values, and the 12 principles to make decisions to create pattern of doing things together. And it's far beyond right now software development or product development. It's also
Interesting.
about the interaction of people. So why right now, especially in the north and in the west, we see a lot
Mm-hmm.
of failure, a lot of people on LinkedIn screaming at Scrum is dead, Agile is not working. It's because they are not intentional. They don't use their reason and the intuition connecting together, like the top-down C-level support and
Mm-hmm.
the need of the employee to do something differently and to listen to the customer voice.
Yes,
And
there's a disconnect.
so that's my image, the in lakesh,
Yeah.
this in
Mm-hmm.
lakesh. Let's be together in that, really together. So that's why, like, I'm very interested about your point about 50% will need to reskills, and we have also all of this massive in the northern countries and western countries of people going to retire without
Right.
passing the baton to the generation. And the new generation is a lot more entrepreneurial, let me tell you that. Of course, not all startups will finish to be a unicorn, 1 billion company. It's only
Mm-hmm.
3% that will pass the test, unfortunately. So there are still 97% of us who will be employee. And I don't like this, even in French and
Ah.
Spanish.
Okay.
Employee. Are we employee or we are creative people? We are artisans working on something. So
Ah.
maybe,
I like that
maybe,
perspective.
yeah. So that's, I don't know if it's answering your questions. And that's
No, you
kind of,
did. You did.
okay.
And one more point that I wanted to mention is that it's actually a post that I came across earlier this week. It was from the CEO of LinkedIn, who mentioned that these skill sets for job, and this is more or less aligned with what you were just what you were saying right now, is that these skill sets for jobs have changed by 25% since 2015 and are supposed to double by 2027. So he
Wow.
said that if you even if you're not changing job, he said that the job is changing on you. And that's
Exactly.
interesting because I was listening to a video on the reskilling revolution, and at some point, the host mentioned that he knew about a bank that was in the process of moving completely away from Excel into Tableau, another application.
Yeah. And but so that these are tools
Mhm.
that they use, but
Right.
what about the professional development? Because uh, I see a lot, like there's another woman that I will be having a conversation with in the next couple of their Real Agile podcast. She will talk to us about you talk
Mhm.
about reskilling, and but she will talk more about the pivoting. How do we pivot?
Ah, okay, that's
So
interesting.
so that's
I wanna
another
look.
way of approaching it, because I see a lot of
I'm gonna watch
people
that.
who are jobless,
Yes.
or without a job. I don't know exactly the, and they create their own job, but they need to pivot.
Right.
There's a big
Right.
new economy. There's a big new thing of freelancers also out there,
Yes.
because there's,
Absolutely.
for me, there's three layers. There's the worker who needs
Mhm.
safety and security, and he still need to, that's okay. I'm not judging here, by the way. Just disclaimer:
Mhm.
I'm not judging. I'm just explaining
Yeah.
the three
Mhm.
layers, and the other layers is a freelancer, for say, or even though all of those digital nomads that I know, they are freelancer.
Mhm.
They work online with different tools, Tableau, Sage, or they do CX. They do great artistic work for the web or not the web. So they don't need to be necessarily an employee of a firm. So they prefer to work on a on their own, but they are not
Right.
necessarily entrepreneur because they are not building a business. They're just offering their creative or their
Mhm.
skills to any organization or people out there. And the third one, of course, these entrepreneurs, those who really have a dream of inventing a product offering a
Mm-hmm.
service, show up in the world, changing the world, not the world of work, not the economy, but the world. So they are into different industry and everything. And these are the 20, 35 years old right now, they are there and that kind of mindset. So for them, so I don't know. So among those three layers I described, what do you say 90 Day Scrum will help the most? Someone actually permanent in a job, or someone who's pivoting from that 9 to 5 to become a freelancer, or how do you, or if you're gonna go to your 8 reason why?
I mean, honestly, I think it's something that can help both, like people. I mean, people who are looking for training, who wants to better themselves, looking to achieve goals. 90 Day Scrum is an excellent system for them. And today I'm focusing mostly on personal development, but actually what I did is that I prepared a list of different scenarios that we can cover if we have time today
Yeah,
after
let's try to
covering
do
the
it.
8 points. Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, what I wanted to say is that at this point here is that now it's very clear that we have a problem, that we have to train no matter what. We'll be
Mhm.
we'll be forced to do it, or we have to do it ourselves. So at this point here, people have two options. One route is more passive, and another route is more active. The passive route is where your boss tells you you have to take a course, you just pick anything from the list just to get it over with. And the active route is where people are more intentional. They think through about what do they want to achieve in 3 years, 5 years? What's their long-term vision plan? And they take courses that are aligned with their long-term vision. So that's the idea with 90 Day Scrum. And it comes back to the question that you asked earlier. 90 Day Scrum can help people prepare for the future. And there's a quote from Brian Tracy that I like. He says that your ability to think, plan, and take action will eventually put you at the top 10% of your field.
Oh,
So here's a bold idea. I think that 90 Day Scrum, provided that it's used with the proper guidance and with discipline, can help someone become or consistently stay in the top 10% of their field. Because what I found in my research is that people who develop expertise, they work, study, act, and think differently. They have a system, basically.
okay. So that's your first reason, the system.
Yes,
Is that it?
yeah, it's number one, exactly. So I did some research and I found that one of the reasons why employee training is failing, it's because it's ineffective.
Hmm.
The employee training plan is not comprehensive. And there's this quote from James Clear, I'm sure you're going to like it, is goals are about the results you want to achieve.
Hmm.
Systems are about the processes that leads to those results.
Beautiful. And if I may, for my
Sure.
audience that follow me, and I'm praised to have those, and they know that the Dairy Agile is there to make the real McCoy. And for that debate, that Scrum is a
Yes.
framework, I'd like to
Yes.
remind you with that beautiful code that Scrum is a system that could actually help you build any framework. It's the 1024 and more configuration from that system to achieve exactly what Sabine just said. So
Exactly.
no more debate. Scrum is not agile and it's not a framework. It's a
It's a
system
system.
to help you. Yes. So,
Exactly.
and I'm
Go
welcome in the
ahead.
comment. If you disagree with me, tell me why in the comment. But with that code from Sabine, you should understand more the substantiation within Scrum, where it's a system you could agree with your team, and at the personal level, probably. No, let's stay on the personal level. But I had to do this because it's a beautiful code. You just about the system thing.
Yeah. So coming back to the problem statement, the
Yeah.
typical professional development plan is not holistic.
Hmm.
And one of the things that makes me cringe a little bit, especially in that self-help domain, is that when people talk about goal, the narrative is often, well, you should set a SMART goal.
Hmm.
SMART is not bad. It's just that it's an acronym to help people formulate their goal, but it doesn't give people a strategy to prepare, plan, execute their goals. Because what if someone has a learning goal to do a major career change that might require a complete transformation or behavior change? I
Yeah.
mean, SMART is not going to help them with that. So what I recommend is to use a system like Scrum, and I'm not forcing anything. People can use any other system they want, but they have to look for something that's going to help them from A to Z. And what I like about 90 Day Scrum, it's based on Scrum, and Scrum offers many benefits. Number one, it's holistic. So it provides a practical roadmap to help people prepare, plan, execute, and track and achieve their goal. It's also flexible. People can modify it to integrate their own personal preferences and their own workflow. And finally, it's constructive. It has multiple systems uh, that, when they are repeated consistently, will help the person improve incrementally, which will ultimately lead to transformation.
But when you say it's repeat consistently, I
Yeah,
know that it's a big thing of Scrum, but I just want to remember everyone and yourself that you have to repeat if it's giving you value
you're
at a
right. You're
personal
right.
level in this
Absolutely.
case. If it's not, you should stop doing this. So that's why the power of a retrospective, and this is what I like because we could do a personal retrospective after our
Yeah,
week. And so with a small goal to this week, why is I did not achieve it on my Friday afternoon kind of retrospective.
you're right.
So and but maybe it's because my pattern of doing the thing to achieve that specific goal in a specific cycle of a week is not
Hmm.
achieved. So maybe I will have a reflection on myself and not to repeat this, but to learn from it to do it otherwise. Am I correct? Because that's what I understood in your on that version though
Yeah,
of
you're
doing
correct.
my tracker. We call it the tracker, I think, back in the day. Maybe you changed the name, but it was
I Yeah, I did include a point retrospective. We'll talk about it at the end.
okay.
But good point. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Remember 8 reasons. Sorry, I jumped.
Yeah. Okay.
So
No, no, it's okay. It's good. It's good. It's a live conversation. One thing that I forgot to mention about the reason why I decided to do it on a 90-day cycle, like I mentioned earlier, because change takes time. But another reason why, it's a simple reason, but it's very useful. It's because it aligns very well with the fiscal year as well.
ah, because you what do you
Mhm.
mean it's aligned with the fiscal year? It's
I Well, okay. I'm going to give you an example of how I used it recently. Um, in the last fiscal year, I like to manage my life, quote unquote, in 90-day cycles. Like I'll set an objective I'll set an objective at the beginning of the quarter. I'll set an objective. And what I did the last fiscal year is that I wanted to get a promotion, so I was intentional. I
okay,
every quarter I was like, okay, what can I do to contribute to the team? What
okay.
process improvement I can implement? What can I do better? And
So now,
every quarter, mhm, go ahead.
in the
Mhm.
context of we are an employee into
Yes,
a great corporation, so you will align your 90 days cycle
yes,
within
you
the
got it.
fiscal or the quarter of the company, whether they have
Yes,
a review of your performance or not, that will be
right.
allowed. So you could achieve something that you could ask or have a conversation with your career mentor or leader or something. Is that am I correct?
You explained it very well. That's
Okay,
exactly right. Yes.
oh, that's interesting. So if any HR people are listening to Sabine right now, take notes. Take note for your career path plan or everything. I think it's a great inspiration. Yeah. So
Let's look at point number 2, vision.
all right. Here it is, the
So
compass. I love it.
so here's another point, an interesting research that I found online is that 90% or more of the courses started online are never completed.
Oh,
And yeah,
that's a
and
lot.
another research states that one of the reasons why learning fails is because people are disengaged. They lose momentum after a while. And I think that one of the pitfalls is that people are setting goals without defining a vision first, without defining a long-term career plan.
Mm, mm,
And I got some more quotes for you. You know I like quotes now.
I
I
know,
guess.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's sad that I don't have the time to write it. Like, but anyways,
Uh,
we'll put your
oh,
best quote in the pine comment, as I said. Like, if you like.
yeah, I'll share it after with you after the call. Angela Duckworth, the author of Grit, mentioned that it's very important to figure out an overarching vision for your life, because she
Mm,
said that the overarching vision is your life philosophy, and it dictates most of what you're doing with your waking time. So the message that I got from here is that a vision is very important, and it's to help you build that intrinsic motivation that you need to energize your effort in the long term, I should say. So now here's a twist that I added with 90 Day Scrum. Because in the planner, I added the planner is like a workbook at the same
mhm,
time.
mhm.
So in the planner, I added a persona. And you know that, the persona in the agile world is more like it's something used to, profile the customer, understand their need. But the persona in the personal scrum world is more for people to reevaluate where they are, who they are, what do they want to do, what are their strengths, what are their pain points, and where do they want to go. Because now we know from a lot of research that self identity is closely related to goal achievement.
Mhm. That could be an entire podcast on this. Actually, the self identity in relation to the interaction with the exterior and the environment.
Ah,
Yeah, I think, and that's why we're gonna need more intuitive leadership to be connected to our true self when we make
interesting.
decisions. It's
Okay.
not just the brain. So that's Anyways, that's what you inspire me with describing this part of this.
Oh, great.
I didn't
And
mean
I
to like.
also, oh, no, no, it's okay. That's fine. I also added a worksheet for people to complete their vision statement and their mission
Mhm.
statement as well.
Actually, coach, do you want to see mine?
Funny.
I know it's a lot of gibberish.
Oh, oh, wow.
I kind
Okay.
of did that, but my
Okay.
problem is I probably will need 17 of these books because I've got
Okay.
17 things that I would like to achieve, as you mentioned it here. It's because I have short-term goals of moving out of Quebec, so I should use one of your book for that. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
personal transformation of pivoting from the agile consultancy to something completely new. So
Okay.
personal transformation, but also like, and incremental improvement. So maybe so because this one for
Mm-hmm.
me it's one, two, three, four books, four of your tracker.
Oh, wow.
I kind
Okay.
of I need to refine. I need to be more clear to myself because I want to do a lot of things all at once. And one of the five values of Scrum that you probably
Mm-hmm.
inspire yourself to, it's have the courage to agree, and in the case of personal Scrum, to agree with ourselves that focus on one thing at a time.
Yes.
There's a,
Yes.
there's a book called that, One Thing at a Time. I think. Have you read it?
Oh,
Anyways,
yeah. The One Thing by Gary
yeah, the one
Keller,
thing.
or
Yeah,
yeah,
I
the
don't
One
know.
Thing.
Yeah.
It's
So
yeah,
anyway,
Gary Keller, right?
yeah. So me, I'm
Yeah.
a crazy guy who like to do five things all at once, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it's yeah. So we lost track, and it's a tracker. As you mentioned, we could
Okay.
have a lot of post-it and to-dos, but what am I doing? Is it the meaningful
Mm-hmm.
thing to get my uh, out of Canada a proper done? Because what is the definition of done? Do you have that concept on 90 Day Scrums?
Okay, good question. It's actually part of the worksheet for goals, for the
Okay.
90-day goals. Yeah. So I'm asking people, I'm not using the definition of done, DOD, but I'm
Okay.
using
What
another
is it?
word.
What is
I
the
think
old one?
I'm just asking people, when will you consider that you have completed, achieve your
Ah,
goal, something like that.
and they have to answer that question to make their acceptance of it, sort of.
Yes, it's a way to know exactly when the goal is achieved, is attained.
Oh, there's a time factor into it, the when. And the
The
when
when.
should it be at at the end of the 12 week or any time in the cycle of a 90 days? For is it a specific task or it's the goal, the
No, no,
direct?
because at the beginning, people have to set a goal for the 90 days.
Okay.
And then I continue every week, they have mini goals that they have to set as well. I was looking for the page, but yeah. Oh, it's already 12:43. Okay. I'll just try to.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
I mean, like
Okay.
it's an open mic,
Okay.
and I already warned my client that I will be late at the 1:15 meeting, so don't worry about it. So just
Okay.
let's get. So I'm assuming that we are in the direction now, the goal, because we talk about goal
Yeah, go.
setting,
You're
and stuff
you're
like that.
you're correct.
Okay.
Exactly. So now another pitfall that we have to be careful with is not asking the proper questions before we
Oh,
set a goal. Because, like, but before we sign up for a training course, membership, we buy a book, take an online course, we have to ask yourself, is this aligned with my 5-year plan? How is
oh,
this going to add value to my life or the life of other people? One question that I like from Ender Erickson is, what particular aspect of your performance do you want to improve? This one is very specific. And just a few minutes ago, you were talking about Gary Keller. And
mhm.
Gary Keller in his book, The One Thing, says that's one question you can ask is, what is the one thing that I can do this month to produce better work?
Yeah. And I don't know if it was him also in his book that he said like stop doing list. Was it in that book or it was another? It
Uh,
was Brianna Conan that I read something like stop
mm-hmm,
putting post-it everywhere on your fridge. Stop putting a wall of things because you're gonna
mm-hmm,
be lost and overwhelmed and a list of things to do. You should know what you want to achieve today, this week,
right.
this month, and
Mm-hmm,
so on. I don't remember if it was in One Thing book or the book
I,
of Mrs. Conan about changing anything. And someone maybe in the chat is helping us right now. No, it's just someone who said he's love it. So we love you too, and Gabrielle, we're glad that you love it. Excellent. So I
great.
thought it was an answer, but anyone can help us in the chat from LinkedIn and YouTube on this live Friday stream. So anyway, so what do you think about this? One thing to achieve in a certain time besides beside making a list. So maybe that was my mistake and my goal
I mean,
setting, the direction settings. I
but
misunderstood that it was for only one thing,
things,
in five things.
you're raising a good point because I'm in the process of writing an instruction guide to help people use the planner properly.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, there's nothing wrong, if you feel
Yeah.
that you want to
Oh,
brainstorm, there's
that
a
was not.
space for
That was
that
by the way.
actually.
That was not a
Yeah.
customer feedback to the
Okay.
master of this. It was I'm accusing me of
Mm-hmm.
misunderstanding it. It's even like, of course, if you have a little guide, or that's okay. But at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
I was responsible to because you have enough information to make us understand. Because you're not talking about its affirmation and visualization,
Yeah,
and then after that, we should take those to refine our direction and the goal. So
exactly.
the vision thing, the compass thing should be one thing. I think from my experience. I don't know if others in the comment section they have other experience because it's always a question of
Oh,
perspective.
it's freezing
So don't-
a little bit. Yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah, you're still there. I saw it too, but no problem. We are on the
Okay.
green.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And so for the goal setting exercise, I included a worksheet in the planner. I also
Mhm.
included a section where people can specify a metric that they'll use to track the behavior that's going to help them achieve their goal. Because one of the things that they don't teach very well in the maybe self-help space is how to choose the difference between leading metrics and lagging metrics, where the leading metrics has more influence on the results you'll get as opposed to the lagging metric that happens after.
But it could be more easy in a personal
Mm-hmm.
approach because we are with ourselves. When you
You're
are with
right.
a team, you interact with the decision rights. So sometimes the goal setting or the direction setting come from the
Mm-hmm.
vision of maybe the business owner or the creator of the product. So that could be here like more easier for personal development
Mm-hmm.
because the only responsible is us. Because responsibility at some point in team in organization are not shared responsibility, and you need that decision rights or the clarity of authorization or delegation to
Mm-hmm.
other to make this refinement of a direction, because you call it yourself a direction. So direction from within in our personal achievement, I think it's more easy in the sense that I have a conversation with myself, with my inner self.
Okay.
But
Tell
when
me.
you start interacting with a team of 9, with a board of director, with a business owner, if she's
Mm-hmm.
telling us, no, 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 my services should do this. Here's our.
Mm-hmm.
So now, how does she is as a business owner able to give clarity of authorization for maybe a specific team to work on a specific feature? I know a lot of people because there's a big debate right now and the
Mm-hmm.
Scrum all about feature based and component based of application or the product. So as you
Okay.
mentioned, I just want to make it like for educational purpose and the difference. So for me, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
your idea is better, but it's really adapted to a personal Scrum perspective or a personal.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. It's a derivative of Scrum.
yeah,
So you're
exactly.
correct. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it because you understand so much. I told you you're better than a lot of Scrum masters that I'm teaching,
Oh, thank you.
and this kind of understanding of this very important circular power of the feedback loop that
Okay.
it's missing in most of the team, especially here in Canada. And this is what
Ah.
the people the Scrum Beer were saying yesterday. We had business people and
Mm-hmm.
developer yesterday at the Scrum Beer having this exact argument about vision setting, goal setting, acceptance
Ah.
criteria, and that decision rights that it's
Mm-hmm.
inherently in Scrum. The decision rights, that's what we talk about self-organizing team. I'm hiring Sabine because Sabine has skills and power and she's good for that. So I should stop telling her what to do. And that's the problem we have right
Interesting.
now in musicians. So, anyways, so at a personal level, if we have
Okay.
that problem, I will say like uh, take a deep breath and reflect on yourself. I'm sorry, I'm digressing.
No, 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 it's okay. So we'll go to point number 4. I'll try to go a little bit fast because I see that we have 10 minutes, 9 minutes
Oh,
left.
yeah, we
Okay.
have 10 to 15
Okay.
minutes, please. So the
Okay.
stage. What is the stage?
Okay. So the stage. Okay. So this is a twist that I added in 90 Days Scrum. Um, I find that this part here is a pitfall for a lot of people because when we set a goal, we often fail to prepare our environment. Um, there's a quote from TD Jakes that I like. He says that challenge yourself to design an environment that is conducive to where you're going.
Oh, so create your own space.
It means, yeah, so you have to look at your environment, everything you need in your environment to function. And for me, the environment is a bit like the ecosystem. I know that this term was overused, but
Hmm.
it's very appropriate in this context here
Yeah.
because the environment has multiple dimension. It means again getting a coach, mentor, or a teacher. It means designing routines, ritual, or habits that are going to support your goals. And finally, joining a group. So this is another thing that I found over and over again in my research, is that it's good to be part of a group who are sharing similar goals. I don't want to sound kumbaya, but um, that support system is instrumental.
I'm sure Davina will like you. Once one of my follower, she's really into
Okay.
kumbaya, so she you already
Okay.
make it
Okay.
that.
So we want
Okay.
to move on to backlog.
The backlog. Oh my god.
Yes.
So
So the
that's the
backlog.
list. That's the list. That's the post-it. Oh no, what's going
Yeah.
on? The action items. Do I making? Is it? And I love your Scrum board. It's doing. Yes, we are doing thing. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm excited
Okay.
with backlog. It's such a divergent subject in the agile community right now. So,
But
anyways.
I have to tell you some. I have to tell you something. Some of the I had my friends look at this, and they
Hmm.
told me that backlog, they're not. It doesn't speak to them.
Hmm.
So that's why, like in the next version, I'm gonna change. I change it to project task list. I know that some people in the Scrum world are not gonna cringe. Like gonna be like, we don't want to hear
You know
that.
that with
But
with
yeah.
with Mike Beadle and Jen Jorgensen and
Hmm.
and the folks over at Enterprise Scrum for Business Agility, we simply call it a value list.
Value list. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and every item is a vli, vli, and
Okay.
vli. It's the kind of a yes to yourself and Sanskrit vli.
Ah.
So it's a
Okay.
value list
Okay.
item
Oh. Okay.
for your value list, and
Hmm.
always propose a value for anything that you do. So it's a suggestions maybe if you.
Okay. I'll think about it. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Thank.
because and I remember someone from the Netherlands at
Hmm.
some point.
Hmm.
She was a great Scrum master, Scrum coach, even though. And they came up with only list. Give me a list, and
Hmm.
let's concentrate on the value of doing it and making it done.
Ah.
So they
Okay.
were like very generic name, and we gotta have to this fall and try to assemble a group of people for a roundtable talking about the power of words. So if you want
Yes,
to help
I
with that,
believe it. Yes. Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it will
Count me
be
in.
outside
Yeah.
of Agile too, but it's just like, really the power of words and
Yeah.
like Briginda Conan, I love her when she says, because you
Hmm.
love quote. Let me try to have a quote by heart now. She said, like, change one word in your phrase, and you change everything.
Ah. Yep.
Yeah. So the intent. It's all about the agency of the intent. So anyway, backlog. So you're gonna change the name for another type of list. You said
Yeah.
project list.
Project task. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the backlog here, in the context of personal development, is a list of courses, skills that people have to take or want to
Mhm.
take, I should say.
Yeah, going back to your reskilling objective of
Hmm.
any people that will have unfortunately no choice. It's going back to Steve Denning article in
Hmm.
Forbes when he says like to organization and people, if you're not agile in the real sense of the adjective
Hmm.
of being agile, we aren't talking about the agile software development, blah, blah, blah. No, if you are not agile as an organization, as a community, or as a person, you won't survive past 2030. That's what he wrote in April
Oh, wow.
2020. Steve Denning. He's a higher consultant. He's one of the father of business agility, by the way. So, and he's the founder of Radical Management.
Okay.
He says we need to have always, we are not reacting to shock, we are creating the shock for ourselves and moving.
Ah.
So that's the real power of agile in terms of flexibility, not adaptation, but being flexible for ourselves. Anyways, so because you really
Yeah.
inspire me to go back to those kind of other talks
Okay.
here. Besides, I'm sorry about so if we go back to the action items
No,
of
it's
your
okay. It
course
was interesting what you just said.
and
Yeah, I was
reskilling.
actually. I'm gonna try to remember that, because it's another motivation, another reason why,
Yeah,
to go for more skills and learn more.
yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that the backlog, for someone who's building a professional development plan, would be to put their courses, and of course apply some of these Scrum concept, where they put the most important courses that they have to take at the top of the list, and also try to size, try to size how much time will be required for the first few courses that they'll take.
So
Because, yeah,
is the
go ahead.
schedule and part of your 8 reason why?
Yeah, actually, it was a good segue, right, to time management because we human have the habit to chronically underestimate how much time something will take.
Hmm.
And another challenge that people have with, you know, uh, developing their career is the lack of time. And we're all in the same boat. I include myself in it. But the thing is that we're at a point where we have no choice. We have to find a way to carve out some time out of that 160 hours we get every week.
But let me ask you, you said we have no
Mm,
choice. Is that true,
yeah.
or it's another illusion that we set to ourselves? Because, of
Mm,
course,
Tell
the
me.
article I talked about, Steve Denning
Hmm.
saying, like, oh, only the agile will survive the new economy. And yeah, it's a wake up call. I could understand that the sense of urgency, the agency of urgency. But at the same time, I see a split happening in society. Uh,
Okay.
for those who want to be into that new economy, whatever form it will take, will necessitate the reskilling. But I spend a lot of time in the emergent countries, and
Okay.
when I go in Indonesia, when I go in Africa, when I go in South America, what I realize is our discussion about the reskilling, for instance, or about the
Okay.
finding of it's very a luxury for only about 20% of the human that
Ah,
live
it's a
in.
luxury. It's considered a luxury.
It's
Okay.
considered, yeah, because a lot of people
Hmm.
think, why is that the people in Brazil, for instance, or people in Colombia and people in
Yeah.
Nigeria are more and more entrepreneur? It's because they just understand that they have to take care of their own, and they have
Okay.
just to eat
Hmm.
and to have a shelter. So it's not the same kind of. So that's why when people talk about smart city or great reset or reorganizing the way that we're gonna exchange money and stuff,
Hmm.
for them it's careless because they have other priority and their own development. So it's
Okay.
really elitist at some point, like everything that we talk. And don't get me
No,
wrong,
you.
I'm
Hmm.
part of it too because I'm a Nordic. But I realized that when actually been challenged by those great people, those people who have said that, yeah, well, we use Scrum or we
Hmm.
use DevOps for another means. And for us, it's not because we want to actually becoming you, because they see the Northwest countries, the OCDE
Okay.
countries, as a failure, especially since the
Ah.
pandemic. We had failed
Okay.
ourselves, and we are not
Hmm.
the model anymore for Africa,
For.
South America, and everything. They have their
Okay.
own model. And that's why I'm telling you, watch Nigeria, especially the most populated country of Africa. Watch them. Brazil, a lot part of India,
Right. But
and
me, what I was saying, what I was making reference to is more the, working professional.
yeah,
It's
but
not, I'm making reference to a particular group of people, and I know that this is
yeah,
not
these
applicable
working
for everybody.
professional will
Yeah.
need reskilling or, as you mentioned, no choice to change
Hmm.
because of this mindset and this
Right.
environment we are here and the
Hmm.
OCDE country and the country of
Right.
Europe and North America. And I bet you if you come with me in the Tulum lab and talk with those entrepreneurs, they will say like, "Oh, this is a great path. I love it." But
Hmm.
we don't have the same environment or vision or the same needs to pursue. And it's not because of the reskilling, because we are creating our skills. We are building our choice. And they see
Okay.
us as having an illusion of choice imposed. And it's go back to what Mizik and the gang said in
Okay.
March in this
Hmm.
very podcast. We are in the age of imposition, politically, sociologically, and also into the workforce and to the personal development. It's their real agile, my dear. I don't want to make
Okay.
you sad, but I mean,
Okay.
it's
No, no, it's okay. I mean, I don't. I'm not looking for everybody to agree with me, but do you think that some of these countries, if uh, these people had access to more education or training, do you think they would be better in a better situation?
they already do this their own
Hmm.
way. So that's what I said. Like our
Okay.
model
Okay.
failed. They failed them. Now, in their case, sometimes they have a choice of a more oriental
Mm-hmm.
type of approach. So we are entering. This is the good news. We are entering the
Okay.
multipolar world of that a real diversity of ways of doing this. That's what I'm saying. But
Okay. Okay.
yeah, but you're right. You're right on point. So what you created should help the people of our environment to adapt. But it's when you say, "Oh, we don't have choice." Really, I know a lot of people that moving south right now
Okay.
because they don't want to be forced that choice of reskilling according to this think tank of the WEF or any other institution here in Canada or United States.
But what
They
about
don't
the
buy
worker
in.
who's has to stay in their current
Exactly.
job? But
Exactly.
what how do you feel about the worker who's here, who doesn't have the option to move out, who has to stay?
Actually, that's
Okay.
my kind of perspective that I
Okay.
disagree with you. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has a choice to do something. Even a family with a little toddler, they could move out if the value of a such environment on your point number five,
You.
number for the stage, you
Mm-hmm.
have to build a stage. And
You're
if the
right.
stage is not the right environment and the right space with the right coach or the right director, you better go being cast having another casting somewhere else. And this is what I'm seeing right now.
Finding another tribe, finding another team, finding
Exactly. It's
going
all
somewhere
about the
else.
clan. It's
Right.
all about the clan. You're right. So even on an individual level, if
Mm-hmm.
I met this French Canadian who moved out in the Yucatan because the stage of Quebec was not fulfilling for her, and in terms of pivoting and reskilling, and she kind of did some things according to your eight reason, but
Okay.
her own way. And for the probably the when she arrived at number four, creating a stage, she said like, "My stage is no more Montreal."
Okay. Got it.
So and the coach she had, she's also an American woman that helped her exactly when you described that you need a mentor, and that
Right.
mentor she's also someone who exit California to go live in Mexico. So we see a lot of and some of my clients move from New York to Florida for different reason, but it's all about your point, your reason number four, I think, and also having the right people
Okay.
helping you achieving it, the network that you need to achieve it. So it's nothing wrong or right
Okay.
about it, but I think when you say we don't have choice, we'll be forced to do this. I think that we always have a choice to conform into the reality where we are and the West world, or to
Mm-hmm.
go into the East world with another perspective, or
Well.
to go south.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. But great point.
Okay. Excellent. So the next one is, well, time management. So I covered uh, some of the key points, but essentially what I want to say here is that um, the intent here is to show people how to use the sprint planning and the daily scrum exercise to build a schedule that's going to help them achieve their goal.
Yeah, like Tony Robbins used to say, it's my favorite
Mhm.
short code: schedule it and do it. Right?
Right.
Is that the kind of the
Exactly.
mindset? All right. And this is why you could transform your life in 12 weeks with 90dayscrum.com.
So the next point is review.
Review.
Yes, the sprint reviews, the week. Yeah, so I named it weekly reviews, but I'm making reference to the sprint reviews.
And
Here's a
I
lot of
love them.
interesting.
I
Hmm?
love them. It's probably the
Yeah,
thing that I follow the most on your book.
uh,
Yeah,
awesome.
coach. I'm sorry, coach. I'm not
No,
good.
no, it's okay. No, it's okay. J.W. Wilson, the author of Cracking the Learning Code, said
Hmm.
that the whole education system is based on the concept that passing a test demonstrate what we've learned.
Yeah. Or what we've been feed
So
too.
yeah,
Also.
exactly. But so it's a fallacy to think that, just taking one test,
Yeah.
passing the test, that it's a measure of our ability.
Yeah.
And again, I'm coming back again to the metrics here because I think that depending on what the person decided to study, they'll have to select the right metrics. So someone could measure the number of hours they're studying, I don't know, flashcard or quizzes that they take in order to have a good grade on the final exam.
Yeah.
So, and I forgot to mention that this was one of the pitfalls that we have to look out for whenever we are designing a career plan for ourselves, not tracking our progress properly. Because tracking our progress, it helps us stay focused on the goal. It's a tangible indication of how we are performing. And it's also it's a process that feeds the next step, the retrospective, which is the
Yeah.
last point.
And if I may, on the weekly review on Matrix,
Yeah,
because I'm doing it
sure.
for a while, with I got a little my weekly book
Hmm.
myself. It's just a journal of things, so I could have an alibi. But I'm having matrix of how many. If I set myself a goal for workouts and I just did three, I
Right.
will think that my walk between my office and the restaurant was a workout. No, it's not a workout. So yeah, we have to be honest to ourselves. We set a
Yes,
goal, we
exactly.
set a kind of a matrix, a tangible matrix of things. And I used to coach people for the
Hmm.
marathon of the leukemia, and the girls were measuring their weight, and of course they were measuring it, and the fact that wherever you put your feet on the scale, it could be a difference of 3 to 5 pounds. And so they were putting their feet too out of it, so they were not calculating the right matrix to get anyway. So that's
Okay.
we have to be honest. Also, matrix is one thing, but to be
Hmm.
objective, it's to really respect this quality of what it is that we set as a goal. I'm assuming. I'm sorry, I had to add it because
Yeah.
I think it was funny. So
The retrospective, the
yeah.
final point. So here, I saw a quote somewhere and I wasn't able to find the name of the person, but it's someone in that agile space who said that if you don't do anything in Scrum, do at least the retrospective. That's how he felt that the retrospective was powerful.
Yeah.
But the reflection is another aspect that comes back often and often in the research that I did. Um, James Clear from Atomic Habit says that the lack of self awareness is poison. Reflection and review is the antidote.
Hmm. Inspect and adapt. Actually, that's from here. If you don't
So,
have this
mhm,
power of inspecting your action and your promise to yourself, if we talk about personal thing, so because retrospective, the problem right now is maybe in
mhm,
the Scrum system it's the one thing you should absolutely do. Well, actually, the four main event in Scrum, when we talk about planning,
mhm,
a daily checkup, but it's not a daily checkup, it's a coordination of what you promised to yourself at the
right.
beginning of the cycle. And the retrospective should be about, mostly, of course, in Scrum, it's about the process, because the review, it's about the product or what you're trying to achieve. So, and I think all of the four are very important if it's been doing with intention and great pattern of learning something from each other in a team. At a personal
Mhm,
level, I agree that it's only a conversation with yourself and with your goal, and maybe with a coach that help you or the network that give you some ideas. But the retrospective is at some point, what we teach right now as a Scrum coach,
mhm,
if especially if they have very short cycle of 1 week of production, there's no need to repeat it if there's nothing to
right.
say, nothing to inspect and adapt on the process. It's maybe more meaningful to have the review of what we achieve and the development of the product or the goal itself. See what I mean? But maybe I'm
Absolutely. Yeah.
digressing right
Yeah.
now. Maybe because I have to get
Mhm,
back to the personal Scrum or the retrospective on a personal level. But as you mentioned, the code of someone in the Agile War, I think he was wrong, because probably the most
okay.
important thing is the goal setting, and the reflection and adapt should come naturally if you have
Right.
something to reflect and adapt according to your cycle. So the
I think.
retrospective is the
Well,
first event that we
mhm.
remove from the Scrum cycle right now.
I think it's still important because, and this is where it's going to sound a little bit woo, like uh, some of the coach, like life coach, they recommend for people to do like a mental cleansing
Hmm.
whenever they have roadblocks, whenever they have limiting belief, you know. And what's interesting about the retrospective is that you have those guiding questions that can help someone remove mental roadblock. I think the process can be amplified, especially if it's done with the help of an experienced coach, a
Yeah,
person, and really unblocked uh, someone and help them propel them forward.
yeah.
So, uh,
But
and
then again,
mhm.
in
And
the real
I'm
in the
mhm.
real agility, even personal level, you
Mhm.
don't wait to your Friday 2 p.m. to do this. You should do it on a regular basis.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's funny that you say that because in the planner I did include it at the bottom. Like there's a section where people they do like a mini daily review every day. It's well, this one is the most recent version.
I got you. That's why they have
Yeah.
to go to this 90dayscrum.com, and they could find the way
Okay.
to get it on Amazon because it's an Amazon
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna probably purchase another one myself too. Do you have a one with an orange cover for me? Or just kidding.
No, I don't. I don't. Yeah. So this is it,
Right.
Alexandre. So this was an overview of the 8 steps and how and why I believe that this would be helpful for someone who's looking to build an individualized learning plan and grow their career.
Absolutely. And as I said, I'm using also mine for
Hmm.
different things. So that's why I think I need five of your book to be focused and very dedicated to each of those vision and goal, instead of putting everything into one of your book, because there's many things that we'd like to achieve, or and maybe you'll develop some kind of a virtual one. I don't know.
Yes, yeah, it's the next step.
And then you could like have a subscription, just an idea like this, like,
Yeah,
because of course if they get a software to do this, which mean that you could just like redo it, but there could be a subscription because you're gonna do the Scrum way, improving it, as long as your research and the feedback
right.
that you receive from probably your actual customer about it. I don't know, because we talk about retrospective and review, but for you
Hmm.
too, as the creator of the 90 Day Scrum book, what's that? Yeah, me, I've my daily study notes, but now the title is, let me,
It's the
the weekly and daily planner, habit tracker, and journal. I love it.
yeah.
Oh, but we have it here. Yeah, we have it here, but smaller.
Okay,
See,
okay, right.
so that's why. But anyways, that I think it's a great thing. I loved it. It was helping me having
Hmm.
more structure and engagement to myself. Let
Oh,
me tell you,
great.
one of the feedback. And
Thank you.
so and again, it was not for me, there was something missing. It was me not being really sure how I could like use it, and the way
Ah.
I'm a kind of a free spirit, as
Hmm.
I was actually retranscripted it into my personal book. It's not a book, it's just like uh,
Hmm.
tapping things, and I do my planning every Friday, because my week start on Saturday in my case. Because
Okay.
as an entrepreneur, we don't have day off. We have day off
Right.
or time off whenever we want to, and we work whenever our client needs us, and so on. So that's in terms of the planner. Beside, but this helped me having a clear goal and a clear vision of what I'm trying to achieve.
Awesome. Wow.
Which my weekly thing is not. It's everything. It's my meeting, my podcast, my whatever. It's, yeah, it's the list of one thing. So Sabine,
Yeah.
I was very pleased to have you at the Dare Real Agile podcast.
Thank you.
So again, everyone, please comment below if you are in the desire of pivoting yourself about your career or anything. Actually, what is your dream? What is your desire to be a better person, or I should say, a better version of yourself?
Yes.
Because you're not becoming a better person. Because I'm assuming that we're all good, and we are doing bad things sometimes, bad habits. How to transform the bad habits into better habits. That's my kind of message. And so thank you so much. And I would like to remember everyone
Well,
on that. My jingle I do at the end of the show. And please stay there after I put the generic. Um, I'd like to tell you, people, remember that you are a beautiful person. You are a powerful person, and you are free to be whoever you wanted to be and to do whatever you wanted to do in mutual respect of one another. Thank you. Have an amazing weekend and see you next week for another Friday Live Agile. Cheers.